What is up, guys? Welcome back to the videos. Today we have a pretty quick and easy one. I've done a video on it in the past, but I figured I'd do another one, kind of lay it out a little better for you guys. Today I'm going to show you guys how to set timing on these Subaru EJ dual overhead cam motors. Really straightforward. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, like I said, it's really straightforward. We've got all of our timing components installed, our two idler pulleys, our tensioner pulley, our gear idler, our small idler, our two cam gears on each side, and this idler pulley, this one, and your tensioner are all torqued to about 32 foot-pounds. So make sure to put Loctite on them and torque them down to 32 foot-pounds. This small 12 millimeter idler pulley is torqued down to about 28 foot-pounds. Your cam gears are torqued down to about 50 foot-pounds. You're going to need a special Company 23 tool to hold them in place to torque those down. But I've already done all that, so it's ready to be put in time. Something that's really going to help you guys out when doing this job is this Company 23 cam gear holder tool. It basically holds your driver's side cam gears in place while you set everything in time. So let me show you guys how to set this side up. Then we'll go to this side, which is much easier, and then we'll get the belt on and I'll show you guys what to do. So this is gonna be hard to do with one hand, but basically what you wanna do, take your 19 millimeter wrench on the inside on this hex, and we're just gonna spin the top cam gear until this line right here, well, it's hard to hold it, but this line, this little notch right here is gonna line up with the notch up here on the rear timing cover. So what I'm gonna do is set this one in time. Sorry, like I said, it's really hard to do with one hand, but I'm gonna set it in time, basically as close as possible. And then I'm gonna take my 17 mil and I'm gonna lock this nut in place so that it holds this top cam gear. Otherwise, if you let it go, it's gonna wanna spin on you and get out of time. This one, the top one, you rotate clockwise every time. However, the bottom one, you have to rotate counterclockwise every time, or else valves could overlap and actually contact each other and possibly bend. So make sure this bottom cam gear, you always turn counterclockwise to set in time. I'm gonna lock this top one in, then I'm gonna lock the bottom one in, and I'm gonna show you what everything needs to look like. All right, easy enough. So the top one, this notch is lined up with the notch on the rear timing cover. For the bottom one, you've got a notch here on the side that should line up with a notch as well here on the side of your timing cover. Let me see if I can get a light on that for you guys. So there's the notch there. There's the notch on your timing cover. We'll get it exactly perfect once we get our belt on, but that side's all lined up. So next, we make sure that our crank gear, this notch right here, and this notch on the rear is lined up pretty much with this notch on the oil pump. Sometimes you want this notch just barely to the right, maybe like half a tooth or less to the right of the notch on the oil pump. That's pretty simple to do. And then on this side, these you can actually rotate by hand usually. So we'll find the notch on here, and this one we might have to use a tool, or if we can get it all the way. There's the notch right there, and it'll line up at the top with the timing cover just like the other side. And then you've got these two notches, the double notch at the bottom right here. Might be hard to see, but I'll get a light on it in just a second. And we'll rotate those so those two line up. The double notches always line up on the middle. Same thing with this side. You got the double notches that line up in the middle. And then pretty much the same thing as the other side. You've got the notch at 90 degrees that lines up with the notch on your rear timing cover. So now that we've got those all pretty much in time, let's grab the belt, throw it on. we'll line some stuff up and we'll get it really dialed in with the timing. And I'll show you guys what to do next. I went ahead and looped the belt around. I started it over here. When I took the belt off initially, I made a couple marks where the indicator marks would normally be on the belt if it was new. So there's one here, one for this mark over here. Don't know if you guys can see it, but it's right there. There's a dotted line on the crank mark. There's a line for this notch and also a line for this notch. So I went ahead and looped it around here, started with these cams and then looped it around the crank and then looped it around the cams over here. And I leave this one down below this pulley for now till I can get everything lined up, all the notches lined up with the marks. And then I loop it around these two pulleys here. And then lastly, once I've got all the marks on the belt lined up with my timing marks, I take this and I just pull it up over that last cam, or that last idler pulley, just like that. And simple enough, everything should be in time just like it is. I always go back and double check once I have this belt stretched over that last pulley. Go back and double check that all my marks are still lined up. And it looks like they are. So now that they're all lined up, I go ahead and pull the pin on my tensioner. And then I will loosen this holder. Just loosen it up. Go ahead and pull it off so it doesn't hold my cams in place. And then I'll take my 22 mil and just rotate the crank gear. You're gonna have to rotate it 2 full times because 2 full rotations of the crank is 1 rotation of the cams. This is kind of a pain in the butt because it's so cold, but let's go ahead and rotate it twice. All right, now that we've got 2 rotations, everything, like I said earlier, it should be a little bit past that notch. Now that we've rotated the crank twice, everything should be back in time. And it looks like this notch is lined up with the top. This notch, kind of hard to see, but this notch here lined up with the side. The 2 notches here are lined up. This notch on the crank's lined up. This notch on this intake cam lined up with the top notch here. This notch lined up with the side. And it actually might be 1 tooth off here. So let's fix this and we'll try again. Quick and easy readjustment. Just put tension back on the timing tensioner. I pulled the belt off of this idler pulley, gave this belt here and this cam a little bit of slack, rotated the cam clockwise 1 tooth to line it up with the mark, put everything back together, rotated it twice. All my marks line up now. All my marks here. Crank mark lines up, timing marks line up. All is good. So I pulled the pin on the tensioner, rotated it twice again, everything lines up. Now, one tip is that once you rotate this, the crank pulley or once you rotate the timing belt 1, 2, 3, 4, however many times, just keep in mind that the marks on the belt that you made will never line back up with the marks on the timing belt unless you go backwards. So if you rotate this twice and all your timing marks are in line, but your marks on your belt aren't in line, that's okay. Everything is still good and you don't have to worry about these timing marks because it would take something like 1,000 and some change rotations for these marks to line back up with the marks on the cam gears and the crank. So if your marks on your belt don't line back up, don't worry. As long as your timing marks on your cam gears and crank are in check, then all is good. That's it for the timing. Pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. That Company 23 tool is a lifesaver. I will put a link to that down in the description below. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys learned a quick and easy way on how to do timing on these dual overhead cam motors. If I ever get a chance to, I will show you how to do it on the single overhead cam motors as well. Also very easy to do. If you guys are interested in seeing that, let me know down in the comments. I'll get to it as soon as I can, but if you guys are interested, I will try and go out of my way to make that video a little sooner for you guys. Anyways, that's gonna do it. Hopefully you guys learned how to do timing quick and easy. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.